Okay, we are now on the air. This is the Planning Commission meeting to be held Tuesday, December 14th, 2021 at 6 p.m. The meeting is called to order. Would you please call the roll?
Alderperson Kastner.
Present.
Present. Brian White.
Present.
Don Carlson.
Present.
Dave Schills,
Present.
Bob Krenz,
Present.
Mayor Knightsky,
Present.
and Planning Commissioner Braswell is excused.
Very good. Item 2 is entertain a motion to approve the November 9th meeting minutes
I'll make a motion to approve.
by
Second that.
a bearded Commissioner Carlson, second by Commissioner Rogers. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
With the inflation, I can't afford razor or shaving cream anymore.
It's not a Santa Claus thing? You're not?
Get ready for hunting next year.
Thank you, man.
Actually, Movember, and then this past Saturday, I played a tax collector at the Journey to the Manger at our church. So.
Fantastic. It's a very good beard. I wish I could grow one like that. This is like 3 years worth right here.
You did an excellent job of collecting taxes. I think you guys.
You did a nice job collecting tax. Thank you.
Yeah, especially as a libertarian. So.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Item 3, discussion regarding the last common council meetings.
Thank you. We held a public hearing for Dickey's Barbecue that was approved by the Common Council, and they actually pulled permits already. And the veterinary Banfield, they pulled permits this week as well. The porch and deck ordinance was approved by the council. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the agenda. And then that resolution to change 110th Street name to Sunset Lane was approved.
Fantastic. Item 4 and 4B, this is a special use review for the tenant change at Jen's Beer and Liquor on 43rd and Howard. It's also a site plan review.
I don't really have.
So the previous owner had some responsibilities with regard to the fence and the dumpster enclosure and some lighting. I think all that's been it's been brought up to where it's supposed to be.
Yes, correct.
Took a significant amount of time to get that accomplished.
Are they here?
Are you guys? Yep, you're the new one? Did you want to, there's probably no questions for you. It's just a question of keeping the parcel clean, right? And understanding that you got to keep it in good shape.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen in my email too that Andrew told me about the concern about the fence, I think, and the dumpsters, and there was a concrete area that need to be corrected too. So I talked to the previous owner too, so I think we will figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just asking that bollard be it's been there for a few years.
The big concrete
Yeah.
thing? I don't know how you're going to lift that.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk to him about that too.
Yeah. Make him lift it.
Yeah.
You don't want to hurt your back. Okay. I'd make a motion to approve the site plan review and special use review. Been a good tenant. It was just the previous owner had some difficulty. I think COVID didn't help either, but, okay. I'd make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second
Oh,
by Weiss.
Brian.
Brian, I think. Heard him.
Yes, sir.
You have a question? Do you have a question, Carl?
I don't. I would just use a lever, kind of like a bar to move it.
That's the
lifting
thing
it.
is, it's a big hunk of concrete
Yeah.
right there. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Item 5 is a site landscape and architectural plan for proposed new construction of a commercial building located at 6279 South 27th Street, submitted by Matthew Hansel of the Redmond Company. This is the corner of the northwest corner of 27th and College. I think you're all aware, but is it Experience Fitness, right? Has been there, and there used to be a taco place there, and Taco City. I think. Yeah.
Long time ago, I think there might have even been a photo mart there.
Yep.
A photo mart where you drive up to bring in your film.
Yeah.
and
And
then
then
they
there.
turned that into a coffee
Yeah,
thing and then
yeah.
a gold thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was supposed to be a watch repair place, but it ended up being a shady guy's purchasing gold. So this is great. I mean, the only thing is, of course, is that this is subject to a special use.
Yep.
If you want to go ahead, I'm sorry. No, it's great.
So yes, this is a proposed 2,800 square foot shell of a building, just reviewing site landscaping architecture. The operators are Roaring Fork. They do work with the franchises for Qdoba and Dave's Hot Chicken. It's zoned PUD, so public hearing obviously would be needed for when that restaurant name and tenant is ready to move forward. They also are including a 480 square foot patio, outdoor patio for outdoor dining. The driving meets the code requirement, parking spaces meet the code requirements, 29 required, 29 provided. We do ask for an access easement agreement that's needed to be provided to the city. It's a landlocked parcel, there's no access to 27th or College. So an access agreement with that strip mall shopping center owner is needed. Architecturally, they're proposing a brick building along with aluminum composite panels. That's these panels that you see here. And then a gray brick tone. And the orange that you see is, again, the aluminum composite panels, just in an orange color. Staff is recommending some minor modifications so that we don't have such a gray building. We went through this with Honeyberry on 76th Street. They proposed a very gray building, asked for some modifications, and I think we talked about this last month. Planning Commission was happy with the results. Here we're just asking for a secondary brick color, along the sills, the capping of the windows. It could be in the sills, the bottoms of the windows, in smaller areas, not asking for material changes there, just a different tone, different color. These are an example of that aluminum composite panel, was used on a Jaguar car dealer. One thing that we did propose and would like to see is, we've got this at 84 South, and this is used in an industrial building in the Milwaukee area, but that wood look, we think would be a real nice change of material that you could use where the orange is, just for a variety of some materials. That's, again, a pretty minor modification that I think would make a big impact visually to the building. So that's something staff is asking for. And otherwise, there's extensive landscaping throughout the site. The drive-through comes from the west and wraps around the building. There's plenty of queuing space for vehicles. Staff does recommend one change with the site. They're proposing a decorative metal fence around the patio, but a chain link fence around the bioswale. So we're asking for that same decorative metal fence around the bioswale area on the south side of the lot. Otherwise, staff recommends approval with those suggested modifications.
Are we requesting a fence around the hole in the ground?
It was proposed.
We don't require it?
I asked that question to engineering. I think if there is some sort of grade difference, it is.
Oh, because there's no safety shelf maybe?
Yeah, like Harley doesn't have the fence, but I think that there's not enough of a pitch difference. It could be. But they were proposing the fence around this.
If it was a black chain link, I wouldn't care, I mean, honestly, but that's. Decorative is fine too. It's just gonna get destroyed.
So the patio on the far end, that would be in the south.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, so what's the thing on the very far left that we're looking
Here?
Left.
Oh, this is the retention pond on the south. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or bioswale, whatever the right engineering term is.
So that's everything you're gonna see is
Bioretention.
the chain link fence in front of all those businesses.
I don't care, honestly.
Okay.
I'd rather not have the fence, but apparently if you have to have it, you have to have it.
Just the picture that you showed of the wood is actually wood. There's
At 84 South.
right, but there's another.
But there's
other
alternative, yeah,
places that
alternative
have like an
materials.
illuminated,
Right.
extruded aluminum.
That is
wood.
aluminum. There.
That's not aluminum, that's wood.
That does look a lot better.
Is it?
The one on the left is actually
I do get nervous when
Is
we start
aluminum.
changing corporate appearances. I mean, they got and I don't know if they already have a tenant for the building that they're building. It sounds like they do.
Could over Dave's Chicken, it sounds like.
So.
I vote for Dave's Hot Chicken.
To change their motif, like from a national brand to.
I know the original submittal, they were using EFIS, and they changed it to all aluminum composite material, so the panels, So I don't know, I mean, the colors scheme could stay the same with that brownish.
Yeah, so most of the national retailers, and then I know this is a local retailer, potentially, they have an entire continuum of buildings based on,
But they modify based off municipalities'
so
requests.
if you looked at a,
Look at Germantown. Not that we want to be Germantown, I'm just saying,
yeah,
that's,
yeah, I don't,
I think the wood's a nice touch to have that as to break it up.
sure.
The
Would look.
I mean, the wood on 84 South does look great,
I do, I agree.
no doubt. I just don't want to lose a potential good business there.
This is much better than EFS as it sits with brick and
Yep.
the aluminum and everything, so.
Especially that close to the road with all the dirt coming off the road.
This
That'd be
building
dirty
like
in a
this looks
second.
lot better than what's there now.
Yeah, nothing.
Agree completely. All right, I'd make a motion to approve the item as presented.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Shields.
With the staff comments?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the.
With the staff comment, I mean,
Second.
so when it comes to secondary brick
Dave?
colors and headers and all those kinds of things, I mean, if that's a huge deal, I mean, before the common council, please let us know. I mean, if it's
Is
it's
that
not a
him?
big deal. Oh, it's
Oh.
you,
That's you?
sorry. If it's not a big deal,
I actually did provide.
do you want to come up? Come up, so,
Can you state your name so we have that in the record, please?
My name is Matt Hansel. I'm from the Redmond company. I'm the architect for this project. Do you guys have specific questions for me, or do you want me to?
Are you going to accept what?
is this
proposing?
okay?
I do have some counter arguments to the proposed changes to the building specifically.
Go
I
ahead.
could go through them right now if you like.
Sure.
Okay, I don't know how easy that is for you guys to
Oh,
see.
I don't have that
little
on.
monitors
On your screen,
here,
okay.
So, yeah, I'm not sure why it's so small.
Oh, that's
there.
split screen.
Why is it not on? Hold on.
Do you close this?
Oops, oh, you guys are pushing
Yeah.
buttons.
Is it AV or is it?
It's really hard to see now.
It's AV, yeah. Oh,
You got a hard copy.
sorry, technical difficulties.
She's got, I think she's.
I didn't realize that wasn't going, sorry.
So do you guys have paper copies?
Yep.
Okay. So we have paper copies too, so if you wanted to, so we can.
Carl, you can listen, I can play with that if you want.
You want? Sure. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just have three concise counter arguments I'd like to put forward.
we
That
go.
they have to do with the brick, so there's 5 recommendations, I guess, from staff comments. Item B is a brick veneer base added to the south, east, and west elevations. So just so everybody understands exactly what the area that we're talking about here. If you look at the silver and orange frame that kind of goes around that corner window, there is, we're talking about the portion between the
It's-
ground
it's
and
the
that
base,
first
it's right here.
seam. Yeah, so there's
base.
that one and then 2 others on the building, so 3 spots total, but ultimately it's pretty small areas. So I just wanted to lay out a couple arguments as to why I would like to not change that to brick. First argument about adding the brick base concerns the effect it would have on the building aesthetics. As you can see from the elevations, the building design is pretty straightforward. The rendering view, or the elevation view here, is, so if you look at the south elevation, that's probably the closest one to the view that you'd be seeing from the intersection of 27th and College. So if you look at the building design, it's obviously, we started with a solid brick box, and the corner facing southeast was opened up to create a connection between the dining area and the street intersection, as well as to create a counterpoint to the solidness of the rest of the building. Further emphasis is given to this connection by the inclusion of the silver and burnt orange frame that highlights the opening and is continuous all the way around the opening perimeter. Adding a brick base here would cause this frame to lose its continuity and lessen the intentional contrast created by the brick portion of the building and the framed opening. I'm really trying to draw attention to and really emphasize this corner. So I want to keep that frame continuous for that reason.
Can I ask one? I hate to
Sure.
interrupt you, but I always interrupt everybody. Like where that door is there a sidewalk there? Or is that landscaping, or what is that?
Yeah, so there is sidewalk there, so
Right there, is does the concrete go right up to the building there?
yes, that is, so of the 3 spots, that's the only location where there's like a potential for pedestrians to walk by. The other 2 are within landscaping areas.
I think what the concern is that typically what and I don't have the sense of aesthetics as you do, but typically what happens with the salt that your employees put down and everything that happens, if you don't have a masonry lower part of the building, whatever there, whatever there, whether it's steel or aluminum or wood, typically rots away pretty quickly with the chemicals that are there. It also gets the crap dented out of it, just so you know. So that's,
That
like-
technical term?
yeah, that's an architectural term.
Sure, I totally understand.
It's really not an architecture.
Just to address that comment, I totally understand that concern. So this material is used all the time, like the Jaguar dealership example we gave, that came down right to the grade, to the sidewalk there. These materials have very specific detailing requirements on the distance that needs to be maintained between the grade and the bottom of the panels. So this is a common material. You see it on almost every auto dealership now, often used at grade level. It's not an issue here. I can actually provide a piece of a sample if you'd like to see
I guess the
it.
point I was making is if there was 4, 5, 6 feet of landscaping there, it probably wouldn't be an issue, but if it's immediately adjacent to the building, it always gets nicked up and it always rots because of the salt. It's your building, obviously, but.
It's true statement. It shovels hit it, everything.
And I could probably, if you wanted, I could take you on a tour of the city, and I think most of us could. We could show you places where there isn't masonry, especially in highly trafficked areas. I think that's probably what you're trying to get at,
Yes,
as
that's
opposed
exactly
to
it, yes.
screwing up the aesthetics of the building. So, just to let you know.
Okay.
You're not asking for it to go to the top, you're just looking for.
Just the base.
A wainscoting probably at the same level that
Right.
your break is there.
Right.
So you'd have another sill, unfortunately, and more brick, but you just pour the slab a little bigger, put your brick sill on, and you should be good to go.
It's like the places that you do have masonry and you have a ton of masonry in the building. I mean, those areas seem to be more protected from salt and from traffic and from denting and getting smashed. Because I'm telling you, around that door, it'll get destroyed. I've watched,
Yeah,
do you agree?
I agree. We all do. We've seen it. We have said this many times over.
It's to help you, and if you're the architect and you have to come back a year later because it's all smashed up, I'm just telling you that the owner of the building is gonna be mad at you because you didn't think of that.
I have a couple other arguments I'd like to put forward for this as well, just so I can. Okay, so my second argument against the brick base is more of a practical one. The original intent to this comment seemed to be addressed to concerning durability. I guess we kind of really just talked about this. But I guess, now that I look at this, I'm kind of reiterating what we just talked about. But like I said, it's been, ACM is heavily used, including at ground level commonly. And then my third and last argument for this particular issue is constructability. If you look at the burnt orange angled wall portion that, so the silver area bumps out from the building. Orange area angles back to the main building facade. If you draw your attention to that burnt orange angled wall within the frame that surrounds the corner opening, if a brick base is added here, this angle will likely need to be removed, causing a messy, or otherwise it would cause a kind of a messy construction detail, where the brick would butt into the window at an angle.
We're just talking about these panels. We're not,
Just the orange around the
we're
corner
not talking
window.
about the orange for
Yeah,
brick.
so I think what you're saying is that the wall is like this, the orange goes like this, right? And if you put brick there, you're creating an angle, right?
It's a
That would
really
be
tough
difficult to
angle of
finish.
brick, yeah.
Yeah, we weren't asking for brick for that area.
No, but I think.
Well, that's ACM too.
It's actually building it, I think, is the.
Yeah, and it's an issue of constructability. If you imagine that angle wall being
Right.
brick, then we're creating that brick sill. We have a transition in the details of the material from brick to ACM, and then also we're dying into a window. It would make it so we'd have to get rid of the angle and probably just go straight back at a 90-degree angle into the main building facade. I'd like to keep this This, the angled wall, it's one of the more interesting details of the building, and it's part of what gives it some character. So I do foresee the need to remove that angle if we do the brick base.
So you don't want to put the brick there because it'll look different, it won't look as nice. And you're
Yeah,
not concerned about the durability.
yeah,
Your client isn't either.
no. No, we've used lots of different types of metal panel at their projects in the past. And
I just picked up on the fact that staff didn't want you to put it there anyhow.
Yeah, our focus was,
Talking about that, I understand how difficult it would be to.
yep,
Yeah, that,
Yeah, the 40,
It's not a
30 degree angle on bricks is, you gotta miter every one, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, yeah.
Right.
And then it deads into the wall, yeah, basically what you said. But they're not asking you to do
Right.
that, they're just asking you to do that front area where the sidewalk is.
here.
Right, which creates a
And
tough
here.
line to finish with.
No,
the-
you just straight end.
Well, no, that ain't, so as I understand, the orange goes out at an angle, right? It's not straight.
no,
Right,
it
so when you're
angles
looking at
back.
that
You can
orange,
see it
it's-
in the rendering easier if you.
So if it
yeah,
was
there you go.
straight, you could put brick up against it easily, but because it's on an angle, that finish line is extremely difficult as a practical matter to do with brick. I get, that's true,
more
that's a,
work, I think could they do it? Yes. I have no doubt they can cut the brick to make it fit.
but it changes a lot, right? Because that angle goes up the entire length of the building.
Brick doesn't.
The brick doesn't go to
And
the
the-
floor at the orange.
Right. I totally get what he's saying.
I do agree it's gonna be more work to do that with the brick. I
It's
still
almost,
think
it's
better.
almost impossible to do it with that angle, with the brick.
I wouldn't say that.
It is. It is actually impossible to do it.
I have an angled brick wall in my house.
I do like the look. I recognize what the mayor is saying as that may not be as durable, which I think you'd be wise to consider. But I do like the look of it running all the way down. It makes cleaner lines. I don't know, I can't quite get in my head what it would look like if you ran the brick. And I'm pointing here like you guys can all see what I'm pointing at.
The base of it.
Yeah, right where the figure, the shadowy figure walking out there, if you ran that brick, so I'm looking at what would it look like if you ran that brick all the way over to where that guy is walking out, and then on the line there, you had the steel look going up to the, I don't know if that would look as good or not. And that's kind of what you're asking for, right, Mr. Mayor?
I'm not asking for the brick.
Staff is asking for the brick.
I don't, well, I think the brick, I just think that a masonry, I'm not asking for it, I'm pointing out that without the masonry product there, where that guy is, there's gonna be a ton of traffic, and it's gonna bash the heck out of the building. But if they don't care that their building's gonna get bashed, it's their building.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
It looks good like this, I just
Yeah, I'm fine
agree,
with
the durability may not be there, but it looks good, so.
I like the building. I mean, if you're that adamant,
It's
The
better
owner's
than,
gonna have to fix
it's
it.
much better than an APHIS building.
100%. I think it's a good.
Staff did an amazing job getting the rest of it to
Better
look.
than what we got there now.
So there's no landscaping next to the building
Not
at that
there.
point.
On the east side there is, right here.
Most majority of the building has it, just not that spot.
And you can't really do it, because that's where the patio is.
No,
I mean,
makes
you
perfect
literally
sense.
have the patio going right up to that product. It's like almost if the fence went to where the guy was standing and you weren't walking by the building there, that would protect the building better.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be where everybody walks, and it's not my building, I'm not paying, this is probably, what, $1.5 million, $2 million, $2.5 million to build this thing, something like that?
I think so. I'm not the budget guy, but yeah.
2.5 years or 3 years, when they come back and they have to change out those panels, that's not my problem, right? But it's gonna, the owner of that building's not gonna be happy with a building that's all dented up. And it will be there.
It will.
On the east side where you have that stretch, if you had the grass there, I don't think you need to necessarily put brick there to create definition or anything. And you don't have to put brick there because it's protected because of the landscaping. But right where that person is and that sign is, but that's their call.
That's their call. I mean, at the end of the day, we made our
So,
case.
Is that fair? I mean, what do you guys think?
You were dead on.
Yeah.
It's gonna get
Express
spent.
their concern,
Yeah.
and that'll be the cost doing business when they gotta replace it.
Okay, so without the brick, I guess, right? Is that what everyone thinks? I'm
We
not.
all agree.
So you
Is
have
that
to
fair
redo
with you?
With not having the brick requirement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand, I mean, the minutes are gonna reflect that, there's concern about damage to the building at that point, right?
Sure.
Which I think is legit. In 2 years, we'll go back and take a picture and send it to you. Okay?
Okay.
Oh, wait, we have a motion second, so
So the motion would be amended if the seconder concurs to remove the brick requirement along what we were discussing.
That would make sense.
Okay?
I'd move the sidewalk, but doesn't look
I
like.
think you
enough.
can. I
I
don't
enough
think you
space
can with the
to do it.
patio.
Try to keep it the way it is.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, the brick's gonna get beat up too.
It's so much
actually.
better than what's there now, I think.
Oh, like-
Commissioner Rogers pointed that out. It's like every time I drive by it and see the vacant KFC across the street, I kind of go,
And if you guys can do something about the Kentucky Fried Chicken spot across the
that's
street.
Franklin, yeah.
I know Franklin.
You can't even get in it. I don't know why Franklin didn't make him remove it or something. There's no access to it anymore.
We have a motion and a second that's been amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Weiss, for moving me along.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, item
Welcome back
6,
to
you guys.
Greenfield. It's
Thank you.
probably been a decade or so.
Item,
Redmond.
I'm sorry?
It's been a while since you've been here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Item 6 is temporary use permit for the proposed COVID
Thank you.
testing location at the former Sears Auto Center on 76th Street. Is Mr. Padilla here this evening? Is anybody here this evening? So has health weighed in on this?
they have. We had a discussion about this today. The Health Department supports staff's recommendation of denying the temporary use. They don't feel that it's safe or smart to have the samples in a pod. They do believe that it exposes them to
I'd make a
the
motion
weather
to
elements.
deny the request. Just quickly under discussion too, there's been some others that have come in to seek temporary use doing this kind of testing. There's, talking to the health director, and I'm not suggesting that any that have come in here have done this, but there are some now that will take the test, and if you don't have insurance, they won't give you the result. There are some that are not reporting the results to the state or the local health departments. It's not necessarily a good thing, right? So I'm not sure how good it is to have
Fly by night.
COVID testing in a container in the middle of a
Yeah.
parking lot. There's enough other problems going on over there. I'm not sure that this is.
I saw this address and I thought they're gonna be doing the testing at the actual Sears Auto.
That's what I
shop.
thought too.
I thought it'd be perfect.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's a brilliant idea, I guess, if you were in a war zone.
Christie, did you suggest other locations to them?
Yeah, there are two that are going to be opening, one at Grandpa Frank's, Highway 100 in Beloit, and another at is it Omega, Highway 100 in Layton?
Which one?
Strip Mall, or, no, that's not, what's the strip mall north of Denny's? I believe it's there.
Where
Oh,
North
okay.
of Denny's?
Bruce
think
Lee
so.
Tattoo is, and
Yeah.
I think
There?
so, I think.
Oh, well, the recent one that's-
I just saw the intersection, Darren said Highway 100 in Layton, so, but anyway, there are brick and mortar locations, empty storefronts available in the city, yes.
this isn't good neighborly stuff with Greendale either, with a generator and porta potties outside. Well,
Right.
So, okay, motion was made and seconded, I think, right? All
Yep.
in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. This is to deny the use. 7A and B are the Dollar Tree that's being proposed at 4803 South 27th, next to the Festival Foods. This is extra tenant space that was there.
Is there gonna be Dollar Tree, or is there gonna be $1.50 tree?
Buck
Well,
and
it
a
sounds
quarter.
like they're gonna,
Quarter?
yeah. It sounds like,
I just bought a bag of Doritos. It's just
Based off the
smaller.
rendering, it looks like it's Thing Dollar Tree.
so the reality is it is what it is, and
Occupying 10,000 square feet, there's still, this light shade gray will be open for a second tenant there. 10-year lease, it does require a public hearing, which can be scheduled as early as January 18th.
I got no objections.
Minor architectural modifications, a new entrance needs to be constructed.
Yeah, and in Hales Corners with the new festival foods there's a Dollar Tree right across
Right
the
next to it,
parking lot,
yeah.
right there adjacent to it.
That was there before, which
Yeah.
now looks better because of them, but yeah.
Right, but
Okay, I'd make a motion to approve both as presented, consistent with staff comments. Second by
Brian,
Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thanks, Grant.
Signage appeal for Ascension of Greenfield. Item number 8.
So there's a lot of signage statistics here. I'll try to keep straight for everyone. They did bring before the Plan Commission a master signage program. A year ago, they have, well, the city's master signage plan has allows 250 square feet of wall signage, 75 of ground or monument signage. What Ascension asked for the Plan Commission was a total of 176 square feet of wall signage, 156 of ground signage for a total of 332 square feet. So that was already approved by the Plan Commission. Today, they're asking for another 289 square feet of wall signage. That includes this, what we're calling Ascension Wisconsin Hospital sign with a logo on the east elevation facing 76th Street. In addition, 2 logos on the east elevation, the hospital sign, a new logo on the south side. So there is an Ascension Hospital in Menominee Falls, same timing, opened up just before Greenfield. This same hospital has 1 logo wall sign, 1 Ascension Wisconsin Hospital sign, and 1 H sign for the hospital. Greenfield they're asking for an additional 6 branded wall signs. So staff's recommendation is yes with the 3 H's. That's a hospital sign. That's completely understandable. Asking for just sticking with the 1 Ascension Wisconsin Hospital sign on the east side, so eliminate these 2 logos. Allow the 1 logo sign on the south elevation. So all we're asking to eliminate is 2 22 square foot. So it's still a lot more signage than what Menominee Falls has, recommending an additional 244 on top of the 176 that's already there.
I'm not huge in wall signage, but the 2 that we're eliminating, I think actually kind of balance out the building.
On the east elevation?
There's 2 Ascension that you're.
Yeah, I have no problem with those.
I mean, to me, it balances out. I'm not huge on signage, but I think it actually would look better with them than without them. That's my 2 cents for.
I agree with Brian. I think aesthetically, it's very attractive. I don't know.
Yeah, I prefer less signage, but in this case, I think it actually is more of architectural than it is a signage, and I have no issue with it personally.
Okay.
Which is me.
Are we worried about setting a precedent of
No.
No.
It's a hospital too, so again, with the extra H's, have at it. I
So
think that's the same
oftentimes
issue.
those kinds of things are considered architectural elements that take them out of the sign code.
Yeah.
If you go to Honda dealers, you'll see their little,
I
it's,
think it's better with them.
I don't care.
Yeah. Kind of an Irish Celtic or something like that.
Yep, whatever you want. They're also asking for 348 square feet of temporary signage.
So
I don't,
I don't,
Where is that showing up? Is that?
where's that gonna be located, is
Is that
your
on the
question?
south?
So Mike Kinsella, Elevated Identity, get that out of the way quick. So all the temporary banners that we're requesting would replace not replace, would go up in place of where each one of the new added signs are going to go. So that's first on all of the banners, and then the now open banners, one would be on the east facade, one would be on the south facade.
I think you're struggling to get folks in there because they don't know it's open and they don't know what you are.
Yeah, and I think that the retail-heavy nature of this corridor is also not helping that. So that's why we're doing the 3 H's on the sides of the building. That's why we want to put the word hospital on here along with now open. And then a couple points of clarification just from the staff report. First of all, there is an existing logo and Ascension Wisconsin Hospital on the east facade that would be removed in place and replaced with those two logos along with the logo Ascension Wisconsin Hospital. The current sign that's on the east facade is right above, if you were to click back a few on the slide, it's located right above the left logo currently. So that's one point of clarification. The other is in Menominee Falls, correct, there is only one logo and one big Ascension Wisconsin Hospital sign, but that is a drastically different location right along 4145. I think a better comparison would be in Waukesha, which is more of a, kind of, well, essentially not on the interstate, where they have two large 10 by 10 logos along with two big sets of letters that have essentially the same copy as what's shown on the screen right now.
I'm still missing the element of where is the 24/7 sign going to go in relation to that picture that we're looking at right there?
Right now, that hasn't been final decided. I mean, I'd leave it up to your guys' recommendation if you guys have them.
Replacing the H, because you
It's a temporary sign.
It would be
It's temporary, yeah, it's a banner.
To the rest of the
Like a
sign.
banner.
okay, all right.
I don't have an issue with the temporary signage either.
I don't have an issue with the temporary sign, and I also think the 24/7 somewhere there probably needs to be seen. I mean,
Yeah, the temporary banners are really meant to be up, like the H would be a temporary banner, each of those logos would be temporary banners, just while we're fabricating the final signage to install in the building. And then the now open banners would be on there during that same time period for about 60 days.
so after you get rid of the temporary banner, the public's not going to have any signage there that says 24/7.
Correct.
Do you think it should?
Coming from a sign guy?
Yeah, I mean, coming from the sign guy, I'm more than willing to fabricate it and install it, but it's something that if you guys would recommend that be an asset to the community, I can certainly let them know, and we can start working on that.
I want them to be successful. I want to be successful. I have no issue with that at 24/7 on there. It's a hospital.
I'd
You think-
say
You
replace
think it right
that,
underneath the H?
or replace the H, because it says hospital. The temporary sign says hospital, and then it says 24/7, right there. Hospital now open 24/7. I mean, or, I don't know if you want to say now open, if it's not going to be a temporary sign. But put something up that says
Or if
hospital
you just said
24/7.
24 hours or something? I mean,
Open 24
the
hours.
actual
that'd be
message
good.
is something that those folks can probably figure out. but-
Yeah, I would be in for putting an additional, I'd say an additional sign, but it says 24/7.
It's a new era for the planning commission.
This might be a one-time event only, I might ask.
Trust me, my head is spinning a little bit as well. No, I'll certainly bring it up to them. I think that the two most natural positions for
Or they could have the
24/7.
flashing open sign.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
like
allowed.
it.
Now we're getting.
It's not
crazy.
flashing, it's not allowed.
Yeah, or get one of those things that they go like that.
The Christmas miracle.
Planning commission meeting.
I think that the two most natural locations for 24/7 would be on the north facade underneath the H logo that we've proposed here, and then also, like you just had up on the screen, the east facade, and possibly on the south as well.
Well, the south, I don't think people are really going to see that.
South is where they're coming from.
No, it's the south side. Yeah, it's not, no, it's not.
I think to your point, you would say
That messaging-
south instead of east.
They can figure that out, probably. And we considered it.
Public can see, and I'm just concerned about people up and down 76,
So in the event that they come forward,
24/7.
so in the event that they come forward with something, it'll be at the common council. We don't have to bring it back here,
I
right?
agree.
Right.
I'll just have it in the minutes. Signage doesn't go to council. Yeah, I've got it in the minutes that if they want a 24/7 sign, the plan commission approves it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might not be a permanent business plan though, so that's why you don't want to invest in a sign.
Could
I don't
be.
know.
Good. Okay, I'd make a motion
To approve it as presented, not to ask comments.
yep, by Weiss, second by
Second.
Carlson. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2104-0801 of the Municipal Code pertaining to non-conforming accessory structures.
Why is that on the agenda?
Because this particular specific topic
Oh, that's
was
right.
discussed at the public hearing, but not discussed at, it was discussed at legislative, it was discussed at the public hearing, but not before the plan commission. City attorney recommended it be discussed at the plan commission, a recommendation come from the plan commission, and then I'll draft an ordinance. It's a one-for-one accessory structures, garages that are non-conforming, they're close to the lot line, it's in bad shape, the homeowner wants to tear it down and rebuild the exact same sized non-conforming garage or shed. We don't have to go before the Board of Appeals, and we can simply give them a permit.
If it's one for, so this.
If it's one for
We-
one, yeah.
if
Yeah,
it's
one for one only.
Do
Yep.
they pay for that permit?
Of
or-
course.
I know that was the thing with that one guy.
And we
would
do end up
essentially be- It would
taking,
essentially be a building permit, is what they.
exactly, just a building permit.
I think that's reasonable.
It's, I end up taking quite a few of these to the Board of Appeals, and, you know, they recommend it, they approve it.
Get a deck or a porch or a garage, I mean,
Yeah, and garages that are old and need to be torn down. Now, if they want to build a larger garage second time around, it's within the setbacks, they have to go to the Board of Appeals.
makes perfect sense. I think it's reasonable.
The only issue I see is potentially it's not on their property.
Oh, well,
Well, if it's not on the
Yeah, I
property,
mean, I
you
think
can't-
there's got to be that disclaiming language,
I think
right?
we-
So
yeah, but
long as the non-conforming structure is within the boundaries of their property
Yep, I think that's fair.
and doesn't create some, and Brian would have to come up with the language, right? Doesn't create some sort of
Hardship for the neighbor.
hardship or something negative for the neighbors, right? To neighboring properties.
But in general, I agree, it's a reasonable thing to do.
the whole east side of the city is built this way. Yeah.
Yeah, any older town.
I mean, for the most part, I don't think any of that disclaiming language is ever going to be.
No, I just don't want to codify a building being not on someone's property.
Got it.
100%. Nor should it be.
But we don't require surveys.
I don't think there should be a survey for that, but I just don't want to say, well, you gave us a permit, it must have
Right.
been okay.
Right. It
It's
is
still the
it
homeowner
is the
disputes.
homeowner's responsibility to make sure that the property is properly surveyed.
Yeah.
I mean, it should probably reflect that in the event that it isn't, right? And the building, the non-conforming building and adverse possession hasn't occurred, is built on somebody else's property, they may be subject to having it removed. Right?
Works for
It's-
me.
it's-
That should go without saying.
It should go without saying, but,
Yeah.
If they're cheating, they're cheating, so.
well, so a lot of people,
Some things
like,
get built in air. And that has happened, I mean.
yeah, well, there's gaps in surveys and there's things that happen, right? So,
Getting masons
Okay.
come out there to pour their slab and
all right.
pour it where they want to.
I'd make, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to, yes, I'll make a motion to approve that.
Or to positively recommend that such an ordinance be created to be presented to the common council
There you go, I'll take that.
with the city attorney's review and insight with regard to those weird little things that could happen.
Caveats. Yes, sir.
You made that motion? Who did?
I made the motion.
Weiss, second by
Steve.
Rogers. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Management report.
124th and between Howard and Cold Spring, it's called Waterford. There was an unfinished cul-de-sac with condos. Creekside Condos was the name. They built the northern half, so the southern half. We have a new property owner, actually the person who was doing that Salon Suites off of Highway 100, purchased that land now, so I do expect that to come before the Plan Commission either in January or possibly February to finish off those side-by-side condos.
I assume it's going to be a separate condo association.
It's a whole separate property, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would assume so.
And it'll still be condo, not
Condo.
owner occupied? Whatever.
Condo, yeah,
Well,
not rentals. What else?
how's my
The-
chances of getting a haircut and a beer at the same time coming?
Not good.
Damn.
The state of Wisconsin communicated to the clerk's office that those two uses cannot be combined. Class B liquor license with the salon, especially the way it's laid out, something to do with entrances and exits and doors. I do believe that applicant is trying to get state law, he's advocating for a change. There would be a possibility for, I think it's a Class A where the stylist says, hey, would you like a glass, a sip of champagne, or, I think that that is an opportunity, but not a standalone bar, or whatever you want to call it,
Counter.
cafe.
So they can serve it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, many of those places do that.
Is that the
They're
one
not
They do.
that's
They're not
24 hour
supposed
a
to.
day?
I'm just saying they do.
It's access
I
24
did
hours
enjoy
a
a
day?
adult libation while shopping this week.
Yeah,
At a
They're,
Greenfield.
yeah, I know.
the tenants, sure, I mean, that's not the intent, but yes.
Okay, well, after we're up.
So I don't know. All right.
There was a Cobalt's shovel in the ground, a final decision of, they were toying with the idea of adding more apartments for Loomis and Layton, reducing the size of the office, but they're not. They're going forward with the office that was proposed. Shovel in the ground this spring, shovel in the ground for Great Life. Soon, man. There's just last minute battles with MMSD and DNR and that kind of, no, I think that they have their permits from those two organizations. I think Sewer Pack is the last approval that they're waiting for Great Life.
Great Life is,
119th and Edgerton. The senior apartments, once was a 4-story, now it's 1-story. 120 units. Elizabeth Residences on Cold Spring and, what do you want to call that, 95th? Is resurrecting. They are seeking, well, they've partnered with a new investor who would do the back independent living, the multi-story. The two brothers, the Curry brothers, would still do the memory care up front along Cold Spring. So they're working out agreements for that, but that's moving forward. They're planning on it soon. They have to come back to Plan Commission. It's been almost 2 years that's stalled.
looks like stuff is happening across the freeway from Loomis and Layton.
On the north side?
Yeah, north side. It looks like stuff's happening over there.
Yeah, they're storing,
Yeah.
the interchange has been removed, so that's out of there. They've been stockpiling dirt and gravel over there. Sounds like Maynard's and Victory Tool will probably be coming down. I'm not sure if they're gonna wait until spring, but I think it's this year still.
I think it's this year. Well, I guess it's 2 weeks.
Any more
Soon.
talk to the locksmith?
So, yeah, I guess the locksmith issue, so, so this is one of those situations where I just kind of feel like it's, I don't know what I feel, but, so the locksmith did not want, when all the other property was being purchased, the locksmith broke off discussion, said, maybe I'll sell, I don't remember, it was 5 or 6 or 7 years or something like that, right? The locksmith has not really wanted to be part of the TIF, right? At one of the meetings, the locksmith and I think someone who was speaking for him showed up and said, well, I want to
Oh, I
be,
remember that.
I want to be part, and I don't remember what meeting that was, because I'm not sure that I was at that meeting. Said that, well, I want to sell, I want to be part of the TIF, and why didn't you ask me? I think his surrogate said that.
Yeah, he definitely wanted to sell at an exorbitant amount of money.
I think it was like $1 million or something.
Correct.
I don't know. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, that's not formal, and so I talked with Cobalt, and I said, well, show me the plan, and I understand that this is all very preliminary, and, do you need that property? And it's like, no, we've engineered around it, right? It's kind of going to be like that house at IKEA, right? It's just there. Part of me, so I asked for that, and I'm gonna go over and talk to the locksmith. And I'm gonna say, you know, I'm not telling you what to do, you know, it was clear you didn't, whatever, right? They're going around you. It just makes sense, I think, in the long-term interest of the city to not have a house and
Be better if it's part of the project and not.
it would be better if it was part of the project. I'm not sure it's actually even necessary for the project, but it would certainly make the project better. It would be cleaner and all that other stuff, right?
The way Scott explained it is that they really don't need it at all. It'd just been, they were doing it as a favor to us to get rid of it.
Right, and then when he didn't want to engage in negotiations, then that is what it is, and, you know, you move on, right?
And I don't
So, I'm gonna go talk to him. I've talked to Cobalt. I said, and who knows where it's gonna go, okay? But I just think it's the right thing to do. And I don't want somebody someday saying, well, you just did this to us or did that. It's like, I'll give you guys the opportunity to discuss it among yourselves, and
That's well documented. We did not do anything to them.
Right.
I just want to be clear on the record, because in 2010 or 12 or whenever the first time this all happened, when was that? I don't remember.
Could have been before.
15, so.
It was whenever Alan Markovitz was involved and all that back then. I mean, it was ugly, I mean, there were demonstrations and don't tread on me and eminent domain and all this kind of stuff. And despite me sitting here saying we will never eminent domain anything, and whatever. So I think that's just the right thing to do. A couple other things too, the gun range, the shooting range. I don't know if you've noticed, the site is being cleared now. So I'm guessing did they get their permit yet? Yeah, so,
Are they still going forward with a name change?
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, they announced that at
the public hearing,
Public hearing,
it's not gonna be, it's not Shoot Point Blank, it's something Range USA or something.
Oh, it's at a point blank?
Yeah.
I still get emails from Shoot Point Blank though.
Yeah, okay, another,
I'm glad it's going forward.
another thing, the driveway, 28th Street going into Festival Foods and Ashley Furniture off Layton.
Yep.
You may have seen that, that's going in now. I want to thank Milwaukee County for delaying the reopening of eastern-bound Layton, because it was directly adverse to what I said in my newsletter, saying that it was open, and I've been reminded about that. But now it is in fact open, so that's a good thing.
When did it open? I drove.
The 13th, it opened the 13th, so they're still waiting, yeah, they're still waiting on stuff for the signs. Tapco is waiting for stuff on the signs at 35th and Layton. But those hopefully by the end of the week. What else?
You done?
Corner of 84 South, any resolution on that?
84 South, there probably will be some discussions on the corner coming up, hopefully over the winter, that I think will be very positive, maybe different than what we initially thought, but will nonetheless be very positive.
Which one?
Yeah, I know, right? So I met with someone and their group, along with the developer, about an excitement for the corner, but that's all subject to negotiation between all of them and what's required. But I think it would be, it's actually one of the things we wanted way back when.
Okay.
So,
I just want to say that driving up and down Layton, it just hurts my heart because,
yeah, no, that was the one thing, right?
no. I'm back on Loomis and Layton. So the boot store, a friend of mine, that's been hurt by all of this.
Yeah.
It's been shut down, the Mexican restaurant there, my wife and I, we love that, and that's been hurt. So this stuff, when we make these changes, it impacts lives.
So just to be, right, just on Layton Avenue, just so you know, I mean, it was a county highway that hadn't been fixed
I know
since
it's not
1955.
us. I'm just saying.
No, I agree. It's huge. It has a huge impact.
Real impact, and really affects life.
The Gold Coast Subs place.
Not related, but I was at Chick-fil-A today and another place in this evening, and two different places today acknowledge how hard it is for them to get help. And so, I don't know, our economy is crazy right now, but people not wanting to work. And then we've got business owners in our city. Those are both out of our city. Business owners in our city and they're being affected, not by anything that we've done, but just by the, so it's just a weird time right now.
I mean, it's like even with getting with that drive-through thing, right? We're not trying to impose additional costs and impose our will with regard to architectural design and stuff. We're just trying to, I mean, our role is to sort of help and to make sure that ultimately it looks really good when it's done, right? And it lasts, right? Because that building is, God, that thing is probably $2-3 million, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a huge improvement.
And usually there's a budget, and if you say, well, we want 80,000 for this, then it means that 80,000 is coming out of something else, because it's not just constantly, there's a limit to the budgets. But if you don't push it, and I appreciate pushing it, you end up with
Mistakes.
CVS, ephes laden, metal studded buildings that, right, and that's, no offense to CVS, but.
Our new restaurant on 76th Street, right next door to Best Buy, they put new signage up, but they didn't paint over the old TGI.
In the back, right.
And you can still see that, and it's just so.
It's just,
not-
no, I
does
mean,
not
it's,
represent us well, that's not,
and then, I mean, the code says that you shall, in a workmanlike, I think, in a workmanlike manner, get rid of the old sign, right?
They didn't.
Right? And they didn't do it.
well, they got rid of the old sign, they just didn't get rid of the shadow behind it, it just.
Yeah, it
No
happened.
primer used.
Yeah, it's just,
Like,
yeah,
how do you-
so,
I don't know how you do that as a business owner.
I would've had them back out there redoing the wall.
Not surprised why.
Remember you mentioned that before?
can just tell you that I'm not surprised that they would do something.
the Instagram post of their menu and stuff was interesting. I mean, they had, yeah, challenging.
We shouldn't do that.
Right. The only other thing too is there may be, we're working on potentially a stoplight by the Ridge and St. Vincent and the salon where the beer thing, I mean, that's a good thing for everybody. I mean, just sometimes the historical record, institutional knowledge evaporates, but when all of that stuff went in, the idea back then was to try to get a stoplight then. And then the state wouldn't do it until something happened in the front, and I don't remember specifically, but.
They just said
There was
no, so we couldn't.
But there was
do it.
always a desire to do it.
Yeah.
It was just they didn't see the warrant didn't exist or something at the time.
Now it has been declared warrantable.
Right. So I mean, and it's a question of who pays for it, right? It's still a TIF, right? And it's a pay-go portion, right? So it's not our money, but it's important that that improvement be there. I don't have tax levy to pay for it.
It has to
I
be
can't borrow for it, so.
planned and proposed within the next 4 months.
March 6th.
Yeah, by the DOT requirement, right?
No, the TIF. The TIF requirement is,
Oh, that's right, that's right,
Mandating.
that's right, that's right, the TIF is, yeah, and there's nothing good. Okay,
Well, on that, I remember when the Ridge came here lobbying to move in there, and I talked about how valuable they would be to the community. What they did at Thanksgiving time was just fantastic.
yeah, I was there over the weekend, they had, the entire church was together, and they were giving toys and stuff away.
That's
1,400 kids, I think they served.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
So as a
So-
city, I'd say we did a really
It was,
good job.
it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Getting it in here. They've made a very positive impact in March.
So people make communities, right? And good people make better communities. So, and I think we have some really, really good people there. There was one other thing I wanted to, dang it.
traffic light.
Southridge, you heard about the bankruptcy, and that's a big deal, right?
Huge deal.
You know, that's something, and I mean, it's, the way that Southridge goes is incredibly important to us, and, you know, for the record, we're more than willing to help in any way that we possibly can.
I still
Reminding that
think it
we
should be
have,
assisted living.
I don't know what, so they have to do all of that stuff, but I think there's some urgency to it. There's been a little bit of crime going on over there.
Yeah, I saw they had 2 carjackings.
That's pretty substantial, and that affects
Yeah, and
everything.
there's
Could be a little bit more than that.
there was a shooting in the Walmart parking lot. Somebody was discharging, just being shot at, so, we're here to help them.
So we got Milwaukee on the north and Greendale on the south.
Yeah, who would have thought, right?
Right.
No, so, but no, I mean, it's important that something positive happened to Southridge.
Absolutely. It's
The
too big of a
spring mall
spot.
stuff that had been going on, I'm not sure, I haven't heard anything from them recently. I think they're negotiating.
That'd be nice to have that developed after, it's been vacant for,
Having something happen that's positive and it doesn't have an adverse impact on the community, that of course is even,
I do miss Bronco Billy, so.
oh God, remember that?
the Lads Castle.
Remember that?
Smoking cigarettes out by the power lines.
Bronco Billy's, it was love after that.
No. What? What?
Duff's like,
Oh,
Duff's,
Buffet?
remember Duff's?
Duff's,
Duff's Buffet,
buffet, yeah.
So,
another sport, like a sports bar, Bronco Billy's.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the same building though.
It was part of it. I
was
can't
something
remember.
else.
I went there, oh God, 25 years.
Can't remember.
Still where it is.
so Southridge, I think Southridge is important,
Great.
Definitely.
so.
I saw where Goodwill is getting ready to leave.
Yeah, they've been talking about that for a while.
I just wonder what might be going on.
What?
Yeah, they're leaving the Reader's Digest area,
No kidding.
going West Alec.
They just got there.
Oh, no, they've been there for quite a while.
Been there
10 years?
10 or 15 years, I think.
Well, it
Quite a
depends
while.
on-
Wow.
10 years?
I did not know that.
Former Ellis Chalmers
Well, that's
research
stealing it.
facility. Did you know that? That building had a lot to do with the research of the atom bomb.
Wow.
Not that it had nuclear materials in it, but way back when.
Casing of the atomic bomb was built.
What? The casing? Yep.
I did not know that.
Well, that's why it took so long to read
Where's,
about that.
that's in the CBS.
And that's why your watch goes like this whenever you drive by.
The CBS 58 building on Holly, that building is where the casing.
Really?
College and what?
Holly.
Holly and, where's CBS, Sam's Club used to be there, CBS 58 is there.
Bailey's workout facility
Yep.
before that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So Ellis Chalmers actually had the facility on 60th and Grange as well, and it did a whole bunch of the scientific research there.
Cool.
For that.
They have underground tunnels underneath
They
70th
just
Street.
unearthed one too, last year.
Yeah.
And they have a spot in my backyard.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
That explains it, Carl.
Well, I can't remember what the other thing was. Happy holidays and Christmas, Merry Christmas and all those. It's,
Happy New Year.
To all a good night.
yeah,
And
all
then I'll
right.
make a motion to adjourn.
I would
I'll
accept
second.
it. All right. By Weiss, second by Commissioner Carlson, 7:02, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I think we're done. If you turn off your mics, that would be helpful.
No.